Yeah, Moldavite. I bet you weren't expecting that. In this piece and the next one, we're going to step outside of modern UFOs and look for remnants of ancient ones. This supposed stone is actually something quite interesting, and well, it's not so much of a so-called rock. Moldavite was thought to have been formed around 15 million years ago in an impact event as an asteroid hurled itself into Earth's atmosphere. As it entered, it broke apart, creating two impact craters in Germany, and Moldavite was thought to have formed when the intense heat from this impact melted and splattered this space rock across the landscape. So this solidified green glassy substance can only be found in the Czech Republic and parts of Germany and Austria. Now, I'd always thought that rocks and crystals in general were kind of a new age construct, something to help you with various things, but more of a mind trip than anything else. And I never really paid attention to it. Even though, as a kid, I would stuff my pockets with every single rock I could find, but mostly really it was just gravel bits. One day, not that long ago, I found myself staring at a piece of moldavite that was sitting there in my house, and I could feel a very distinct and palpable energy coming off of it. And the energy, well, it was moving into my body. It moved into my legs, then it trailed up into my heart area, and it was kind of pulsing. And I could feel that it was affecting and working on my energetic field, my whole body and my heart. So after that, I started to get obsessed with this stone. I also began to grab other rocks and crystals to feel them. So oddly, after this event with the moldavite, I got completely turned on to the fields and effects of every single stone, where I can feel them in my body and my energy, so much so that I knew what they were affecting in my body and energetic field. I kind of went off the deep end though, and a couple times I spent too much time feeling different stones and crystals one after the other in order to understand them, and I started to get sick. So these days, I've got to stay away from many of these consciousness constructs because that's what they are. Otherwise, I get this strange stone sickness that lasts for days. Anyway, it was moldavite that turned me on, and for me, it is the most palpably energetic rock. It got me curious, though, in wanting to understand what it was all about. So I began to task this to remote viewers, mainly how it formed and where it came from. So this is our data on it. In the distant past of Earth, there were civilizations that were human-based, but there was also much interaction and help from other cultures across the universe. This is actually more the norm when it comes to the growth of civilizations on planets, especially in the older Earth construct. Now, different technologies were here and being utilized to advance the human race in a more spiritual and open way. It's like a different age and a different epoch. The data describes a device that was within a pyramidal shaped structure, and it was in part used for zero-point energy generation or free energy. There are also other aspects to this device, as it was also able to uplift consciousness. It had a field to it that would affect the people in the local area. And this technology was brought here by a different race of beings, and they openly interacted with the rendition of Earth humans at that time. Now, there was another group of beings who wanted the technology for themselves. Typical Earth story. They'd taken a part of or one of these devices from one of the pyramids used on the surface of Earth and put it in a ship and started to fly away from it. So they were chased through the atmosphere by the other beings in a craft that were anti-gravity type ships, and then they were subsequently shot down. Because of the energy of the device, this caused a massive explosion in the atmosphere, larger than anything current on Earth that humans could produce. And debris, it shot across the landscape, crashed into the ground, and poisoned the land. So much so that everyone left the whole expanse where the land was contaminated. So moldavite is the result of this UFO explosion and crash to Earth. Predominantly, it's the device that they stole, and this so-called rock or piece of glass is that destroyed device mixed with aspects of a ship. So it is a highly, highly energetic construct from a piece of very advanced esoteric technology. And Peter Maxwell Slattery, who y'all know from his series here on Edge of Wonder, out of the blue said to me one day that moldavite was from an exploded ship, and this was after we had remote viewed it ourselves. So That's some interesting correlation there with his information and ours.